I just finished Bible study tonight with my family. We have Bible study on Thursday nights. It's called the Spot, a Special Place on Thursdays, and we have been studying the book of Joseph, uh, the the book of Genesis. I'm sorry, the story of Joseph in Genesis, and tonight we closed out on that chapter, and we learned so many different things about Joseph. Every time I read that, it's always something different that comes about. That I get out of the story. But tonight, I just wanted to share with you very quickly the as we ended in verse 50, chapter 50, I'm sorry, chapter 50, verse 19. And when Joseph was, he had, you remember Joseph had a dream and his brothers plotted to kill him because they didn't like what his dream was about. They didn't like what he was seeing. So they plotted to kill him, but instead they sold him. They sold him off to someone. And and through all of that, Joseph went through a lot of stress in his life, difficulties, ups and downs, and he was made placed in higher places, higher positions. It's just so many different things, that journeys that Joseph went through. And then once then Joseph ended up later on in life, he ended up meeting up with his brothers again, and his brothers didn't even recognize who he was because they thought maybe he was dead or they had sold him off. They had no idea of where he was or what he was doing. But when they did find out that was their brother, they didn't know how to accept it. But long story short, and y'all can go read it in Genesis. Uh, long story short, Joseph ended up getting back reunited with his brothers and his dad. He wanted to make sure, he didn't know if his dad was still alive, and he was. So he brought his brothers and his dad back to the town where he was living, where he was a high official at that time. So he was able to take care of them in the phantom that they was in, and he I mean, despite everything that they had done him and his dad thinking and presuming that he was dead, um, was able to be reunited with his brothers and whole family all over again. Plus, at this time had passed. Joseph had sons of his own. So even with all of that he went through, he still was able to reunite with the ones that did him bad. The ones that was sold him in the first place. The ones that they didn't want to see him a lot to succeed anyway. They were jealous and things, So he was reunited with them. But at the end, when his father was dying on his deathbed, he gave Joseph instructions of how he wanted to be buried. He was also his father Jacob, who was also called Israel. His was able to speak to all 12 of his sons, and to speak blessings over his sons before they died. Before he died, he was telling them a little bit about themselves. You know how we can tell our children a little bit about themselves, but he also taught blessings over his sons as well before he succumbed to death. And so going on, and Joseph, he, Jacob had Jacob Joseph's father had told him how where he wanted to be buried. He wanted to be buried with the ancestors. And so Joseph followed through of his daddy's wishes, and he buried his father. When they got back after the burial and everything, after the long time they were away, um, they got back. The brothers were afraid then because dad's gone now, right? And dad probably was the one, Jacob was the one that was holding things together. Well, dad's not there no more, but they can remember dad said, when I do pass away, or when I die, make sure you make me with your brother, make sure you ask him to forgive you. You need to ask for forgiveness. So the brothers were afraid because they didn't know what Joseph was gonna do. Dad's gone, ain't no telling what he gonna do us now. We not gonna be protected by this. We don't have that protector there or whatever. That's where I put it. They just didn't know. So they said they asked for forgiveness, and they even told Joseph that they said, we'll be your slave. We'll be your slave. We'll do whatever you want us to do. We'll be your slave. But instead, when they asked for forgiveness and everything, Joseph cried. He cried and he wept. He threw himself down and he just wept. And he cried, and then they threw themselves before him. So they were all, you know, um, coming closer together. And despite, I just thought about that, all the things that these men, the brothers, people supposed to be close to you, had did to him. And I really kind of had forgot about him until he showed up again. And then they seen the position he was in, and he still took care of them, despite what the things that they had done to him. And now their father is gone, and the dad has passed away, and he's still with them. He still brought them back home to where he was, and still taking care of them. So they really didn't know what was to expect. They didn't know what to expect. So I wanted to stop right there because Joseph said something very profound, and I'm reading it out the NIV version, and it's in Genesis 50, and I'm going to start at verse 19. Is Genesis 50, 19, and 20. So when the brothers said, look, we're going to be your slaves, forgive us and everything, Joseph looked at them and said, don't be afraid of me. Don't be afraid of me. He said, am I God that I can punish you? Am I God that I can punish? I can't do nothing to you. There's nothing I can do to you. I can't punish you like God can punish you, I'm not God. So you don't have to be afraid of me. Then he goes, what you intended to harm me, God intended it all for good. Oh my God. He said, what you meant for harm, God made it out and worked it out for my good. So I had to look and think about that. Joseph he had to understand. He had to understand what forgiveness was, right? Because who would go through something that treacherous, who would go through something like that and forgive, take care of, make sure his daddy had the proper burial, take all of the town with him for the burial for 40 days, and all the things he did that he really didn't have to do because of the way he was treated in the past. Now some of us think, and I'm one included, somebody offended me, I ain't got nothing to do with them. I don't have anything to do with them. Now, I'm not saying that you gotta let anybody do anything to you that they can, that they misuse you, abuse you. That's not what God wants. He don't want that, but if we think about Joseph, he had to know what forgiveness was, right? We hold offenses against other people, and sometimes we just don't really think about it. When somebody offend you, somebody lie on you, they do you wrong, it happened, right? God allowed it to happen. He could have stopped it right then and there. Am I wrong or right? He could have put a pause to it, a stop to it right then and there, but he didn't. So it has to be something that has to come out of that. Am I right? Think about that. It has to be something that's going to come out of that particular offense. Now, God tells us to forgive our debts as those that have forgive our trespasses as those who trespass against us. So He wants us to forgive. We forgive. I forgive. And me, myself, I forgive. And sometimes I forgive, but I back away from the person, depending on the offense, I back away because this is me personally. I try to protect my space, because I don't want negativity all around me. I don't want lies and deceit. And I know that, especially when the person don't repent or ask for forgiveness from me, they still doing the same thing. I'll forgive them, but I remove myself from the premises or, from the space so that I can protect the space that I'm around. But Joseph was totally different from that, right? He had to understand what forgiveness was. He knew that despite what his brothers had done, what they meant for to punish him, what they meant to harm him, God was going to work it out for his good, and God did. And even though Joseph went through turmoil, he went through the ups and the downs and the ins and the outs, from, like some say, the pit to the palace. Um, he went, he faced different things, but he kept moving. He kept doing what God had put before him to do. He didn't waver to the left or to the right. He just focused on what's ahead, and God made a way for him. God made a way for him, right? So, with that said, um, let me get my Bible here. With that said, it just shows how we are supposed to forgive, and what people or what others have meant for our harm, God will turn it out for our good. Because in this situation with Joseph, you know, uh, he brought Joseph to a position to save lives of many people. He saved life in the famine. He brought his family out and saved their life through this famine. And one of the pointers that was brought up when we discussed it in our Bible study tonight, what if Joseph didn't tell his family about the dream? What if he didn't say anything? Sometimes we have to speak out, and we have to testify, or we have to let others know what God is telling, is talking to us to do. Sometimes people say, don't tell everything. You can't tell what God's telling you to do, because somebody's going to take it, they're going to run with it, and they may try. But when God gives you a vision or a dream, that vision and dream is for you, and nobody can touch it. Nobody can touch that. Now, we can stop it by not following through with it. We can give up. We can say, oh, they don't like me anymore, so I need to stop it. I need to just stop this because nobody's going to be on my side, so we can give up on it or whatever, give up on that vision or dream. We can stop it. But if God has planted it there, it's for us. That dream, that vision is for you. He deposited into your account. It's deposited into your account. Nobody else has the PIN number but you and God, right? So this made me think, what people meant for evil, God will turn it around for your good. But you have to trust God. You have to do it the way God would have you to do it. You have to believe in Him. You have to continue to move on and move in the way that God would have you to move. Do what God has put before you to do, despite how it look, despite how it feel. And honey, I'm here to tell you, it doesn't feel good all the time. It really don't. You feel like you're alone. People turning their back on you. People laughing at you. Why is she doing this? Why is she doing that? Nobody listening. Why she come on camera looking like that? All types of different things. But you have to keep on. And so this was Joseph was showing us. God plan plan hadn't been about giving him a fun and easy life, but about making it possible to save the lives of many people. God didn't say it was going to be easy. He didn't say everything was going to be fun. But it's a purpose behind it all. Somebody is waiting for you for what God has put before you to do, and you're not doing it because you're worried, you're afraid, you're scared. You feel like you're going to be alone. You feel like nobody going to understand. They didn't understand Joseph. They actually wanted to try to get rid of the brother. And some people going to try to get rid of you as well. But what they do for evil, God will make it, turn it around for your good. God can deal with their intentions better than we ever could do. God can deal with their intentions better than we can, right? So give it to God. Know that if He gave it to you, everything gonna work out for your good. All things work together for the good of those who love God and those who are called according to his purpose. Y'all be blessed tonight. I love that. Go read the story of Joseph. It's a beautiful story. And read Genesis 50, 19 and 20. 19 and 20. You intended to harm me, but God intended it all for good. And know that God intended what he given you is for good. Y'all have a blessed night, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye.